Hello everyone and welcome to EdTech Tuesdays. Today we're going to be doing iReady Personalized Instruction, Monitoring and Responding to Student Progress, presented by myself and Deborah Pingle. Together we are your elementary instructional technologies specialist. Just some housekeeping rules while we're here. Please make sure that your mic is muted. Feel free to type any questions in the chat section. Myself and Debbie will be looking at those questions and we'll be happy to answer them as soon as possible. If you have not registered, please do so in the professional development system. The link has been shared by Debbie. And remember that the check-in code is PSJA Tech. Our session today is 347715. So iReady. Woo! Are you guys ready for iReady? We've been all seeing Eureka. We'll be seeing iReady. And there's a lot of stuff going on. And we just want to give you some information and how to run some reports, as well as some of the situations that's happening that our students sometimes get no more lessons assigned to you. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. So iReady provides a comprehensive reports for monitoring student progress. And the two that we're going to be discussing are personalized instruction summary for student and for your class. These reports help you as a teacher track your lesson progress, time on task, and areas of need for each of your students. So the student one, the personalized instruction summary, the purpose of it is to monitor individual student progress throughout online lessons. And I'm going to be providing you some one-pagers. Well, actually, one of them is a two-pager, the student one. And so you can have them with you as well. So key features, you will be able to look at current and past lessons, upcoming lessons, monitoring this domain the student progress are doing, the overview of the activities, and the detail of the lessons that your students are doing. So this is what it looks like when you're logged in into the report. Navigating the report is super simple. You can move in from a student to student once you're logged in, and I'm going to show you how to log into it by doing the drop-down menu and selecting the student name, subject, and date range. Now, I'm not going to go specific into students for FERPA concerns. I'm not going to be showing student information, but I will be showing you overall class and try to hide some of the information in there as well. You can also see in the number 2, well, in the number 1, you can select also the subject and the date range. So is it this week, next week, or a specific date range? Number 2, in here, you will see the current or past lessons. And in number 3, you will see the upcoming lessons. Now, this is very important. If you see the graphic below, the number 4, monitor the domain progress with visual indicators for your students. When you see a completed solid line, those are the lessons that the student can complete it. If you look in B, if you see that dotted line, that lesson was skipped. That means that probably the student didn't need it because of the scores before. And in the green shaded area is a chronological grade level that the students needs to go, the E, the M, and the L. Now, how do we understand the activity overview for your students? So in the number 5, which is this one over here, it shows the instructional activity in each domain. Whereas it's phonological awareness, which is, that will be only for your little ones. The numbers lesson passed, the number of lessons completed. It will show in there together, the passed and completed in one column. And then the percent of the lesson passed will be, well, the percentage by the lessons completed and the lessons passed in there. That will give you that percentage. Also in there, we'll display the lesson time on task year to date. And it will give you also the lesson time on task for the current week and for the previous week. I think this information is very important and it's individual for each and every student. Now, I want to go into detail in this area over here when we see those warning signs and that stop sign. This is detailed information that tells you specific things that are happening to your students. These are student alerts. The yield sign, it tells that the student needs support because it has not passed consecutive lessons in a certain domain. It turns into a stop sign when those repeated failures continue happening. Now, when you get into the yield sign, the student is able to still continue working on that domain. But when it gets into the stop sign, that domain is shut off for the student. And for the student to be able to go back and work on that domain, We as teachers need to go and do an intervention for the student to be able to turn it back on for that student and continue. That means that the student is not understanding that domain, and we need to go in there and see how we can support that student specifically. Now let's talk about the second one. Personalized instruction summary class. It's very similar looking at the student one. The key features are lesson time on task and overview for your whole class as a whole, lesson pass data, student progress individually for your student, but it's not as specific as a student one. And then you can also select language, English, Spanish, or both. This is what it looks like. This is how we will be navigating the report. In the number one area, you can, in the drop downs, you can select the subject, math, or reading, like the charts. The class, if you only have one class, obviously you're going to have one section. For those of you who are admins or lab managers, you can select the different classes in your campus to be able to see that report per class. And also, you can also see the date range in number 2, which could be the current week, last week, a month, or you can set a custom length of time. In number 3 in the top right corner, you can download this as a PDF and it will show these graphs as they are, which are pretty to look like. But if you want to manipulate the data, you can download it also a CSV file, which you can open on Excel and be able to run some formulas to be able to know any specific that you want to work. I will suggest if you don't know how to use CSV files or you don't know how to manipulate the data, just do the PDF and it will give you exactly what you're seeing here if your principal or anybody's asking you to provide some data. In the area number 5, actually I'm skipping number 4. Number 4 shows as a whole group in your classroom the time on task and the lessons pass visualization. So it will tell you the students, how many students you had with only time on task from 1 to 9 minutes, from 10 to 29 minutes, from 30 to 49 minutes, and 50 or more minutes. In the lesson passed area, which is number 5, you will see the lessons passed for current or last week. And in the B, it will be year to date, and that's why you get this pie chart over here. Again, you can see current, previous week, or you can see year to date in this area. Any questions so far before I continue? I don't see any on the chat, and I'll continue. Monitoring your class progress. In here, you can see specific on the students. The language selection on number 6, if you put English and Spanish, it will give you both, and that is mainly for RLA, for reading. You'll only see Spanish if as a teacher you assigned any lessons to your students. If you did not assign any lessons in Spanish, then it's not going to show up in here at all. If you can do English only if you have an English only class, Spanish only if you have a Spanish class, but for math, you can do English and Spanish if your students are able or allowed to do the program in Spanish for math, then you will see it English and Spanish as well in here. Number 7 is the in progress lesson. That means how many lessons is your student doing right now? It's currently working on. Number 8, how many lessons has a student passed in the current week? The number 9 is how many lessons have they completed in the current week? And that's how we get the percentage for number 10 of lessons passed. So for example, this girl, Danielle Baker, only has 50% of the lessons passed because she completed 2 lessons but only passed 1 of them. Lessons year to date in number 11. So that bit also gives you a forward slash in there because the first number is the past lessons and the second number is the completed lessons. As you can see, Carla has a stop sign in here. That means that for this domain, she already not passed a lot of lessons and we need to go and do intervention for the student. With Danielle is continually able to go forth on the lessons until it gets to some continues a certain amount of lessons not passed, and then it might turn into a stop sign as well. But those two signs are good. Like if you see that yield sign, you might still want to do an intervention and see what is the difficulty that your student is having in this time. Again, this is what I was just talking about. Action is for you to take specifically when your domain is shut off. So the student can continue get lessons if one of the domains is shut off, which is 5 of them. But once all 5 domains are shut off, your students are not going to get any more lessons. Is that when we get that sign that says student has no more lessons assigned, because all 5 domains have been shut off. Now, here are some resources that I will be sharing you in the slides, the training document, a Padlet, and some how-tos. But let's try to go live into this and see what we can see into. If you want to go ahead and log into your iReady as well, we can go live into iReady, and you will go into reports. Now, remember, this is not the diagnostic. The diagnostic reports is for the tests that they take at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year, which are very different for reading in English and in Spanish. Right now, I'm going to focus on the instruction. If you go into instruction, you will go into the personalized instruction summary. Now, you can see that I see district and school. For you, you will go into class to see your whole personalized instruction summary for reading or math. And if you want to go specific student, you will go into personalized instruction for reading and math into that. I'm going to go into class. And if I want to ask for some permission, any of my teachers that are here, can I open up your classroom? I would like for your permission. I'm not going to show your student information, but I just want to show the main area where we see the classroom data. Can I get a volunteer? I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click on reading while somebody volunteers. I'm going to select a campus. And I'm just going to select Anaya Elementary. I'm going to select a random teacher here, and hopefully this teacher will show up. I'm going to put all grades in here. So as you can see in here, exactly what it tells you. Lesson times and tasks for the current week. 0 of the students are 1 to 9 minutes. 5 of the students are from 10 to 29 minutes. 2 of the students 30 to 49, and 1 student 50 plus. It gives you the current week, average lessons passed, and the completed. Now, you can also see in here the year to date, 8 students have passed 70 to 100%. 1 student's 50 to 69, and 1 student is 0 to 49%. This is really important for you to check in, and I'm going to put this little Word document in here. So I am covering the student information and the names. This is what I'm talking about in here that you see, that you see the yield sign in here. And this is where you need to click down to be able to see what's happening with your student. But you can see also is the student names are here, the type of alerts that we have, lesson times on task, in progress, past, completed, percentage, lessons year to date, passed and completed, and then the percentage year to date as well. I want you to go at this point and go live into your own iReady account and try these 2 types of reports, the student and the class. While you're sharing that, I'm going to stop sharing my account, and then we're going to be working on the reports for the diagnostic, just so you can have those as well. Any questions at this time for this data?
I do have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Ms. Lopez.
Hi. Just curious. My class is an all Spanish class, and I was somebody just gave me the gist on how to get them assigned. Assign them Spanish lessons for comprehension. Main idea and all of that.
Okay.
But I'm wondering. I'm barely gonna start tomorrow with Spanish. But I wanted to know, in the data that I'm going to be getting, would
Mhm.
that be the data for the Spanish lessons that I'm assigning to them?
Yes, so you will get the Spanish data right here. So see how it says English or Spanish? Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me share it again. So you see how there's English and Spanish? I'm in reading. You will only get the Spanish data if you assign, because the lessons in Spanish can only be assigned at this moment. But the same thing happens if you go to math in here. If you go to math, the data shows up in here for English and Spanish, but like, for example, this classroom only has English. All math, they're taking it in English. But if we go back to reading, you can see the selection of including English, Spanish, English only, or Spanish only.
Okay, and that's on the very top, included lesson in, okay, I see it. Okay, alrighty, I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious.
Perfect. If there's any
Thank you.
need that you help after you're trying, just contact myself or Debbie, and we're here to support you.
Thank you so much.
Is there any other questions before we move on to the different kinds of reports? We wanted to give you the instruction report, which I believe is what you need at this point, but I have some more time, so I will give you the diagnostic reports as well. Okay, before I move to diagnostic reports, I do want to show that for those that are our lab managers or admins that are visiting us right now, you could go to school and class and do also the personalized instruction summary and do it for your whole campus. Now, if you do it for your whole campus, for example, this is Anaya Elementary, you can select by grade level or you can select the whole campus. So I'll just do kinder, and this is the kinder, and it goes specifically, it goes in individual by classroom as well. If you go to first grade, it will do the same thing. And it gives you the same type of data. Lesson times some task, the percentage of students, and then the average lesson passed. And this is per campus. So for my lab managers and my admins in here, or our coaches in our campus, you might be able to use this data as well for campus-wide data. So let's go and look at the report for diagnostic. If you go to diagnostic, you will go to diagnostic results for reading and for math in here, but reading will only be for English. So you go here for reading, and you will notice this is the campus data, and this will be grade level data. And if you click on the grade level, you can go in here more specific into classroom as well. And this will tell you how the student placed on the BOY because we haven't taken the MOI. This is the most recent diagnostic. If we switch here to math, it will be the same report, the same level, and it will also give you specifically by classroom. So whatever you need to know about the diagnostic, to know how your classes are doing, to know how your campus is doing, you can do it here specific. You want to do everybody, you can do everybody as well. Let me just go back in here. And we go into reports to diagnostic math. You select, I'll clear the filter, and this will be the whole campus data for diagnostic for this campus. Now, how about our Spanish classrooms or our students that we have in Spanish? The report is not as friendly, it's not as pretty. For the diagnostic for Spanish, the test for Spanish reading, we're going to need to go to all exports, and we will need to go to this area down here that says assessment of Spanish reading export. You will click in here, and it will be an Excel or CSV file that you will have to manipulate, and it will give you the data of like your student and every score that they got in each of the areas. So it's not going to be graphing, and I'm not going to show it right now because I can create an export, but I don't want to show student data live right now. Is there any questions right now about the diagnostic, or if you want to go back into the instruction part, any questions about the instruction?
I'm sorry, can you repeat, where can I get that the export, the one for Spanish?
Sure. And if you will go also to reports, everything will be on reports. So the key thing is, what do you want to get the report of? You want to get the diagnostic assessment, or do you want to get the instruction? So
The
diagnostic is in
ahead.
here. Instruction is in here. But if you're specifically talking about Spanish, you need to go to all exports. In all exports, it will show here. Now you won't see the district, you will see the class one, and you will see it right here. This is the view that you will get for class. In all exports, you can see everything, the diagnostics, the instructionals, everything in here. So you will go to Spanish reading. For my admins and my lab managers, was this helpful? And is there any questions that you have? Cool. So let me show you now what are the files that I'm going to be sharing with you in the PowerPoint. So this is the personalized instruction summary. It gives you that information that we went through on the slides. It goes a little bit more detail. But basically what I did in explaining, it goes right in here. And this is for the student. This is the class. It's a one-pager. And I put them together for you so you don't have to go and keep on grabbing. But it also gives you this specifications or the personalized instruction for monitoring when you get those domain shutoffs or the alerts with the yield sign. So if you see that red domain, it tells you which students have lessons alert this week, and then this is what you need to do. You need to conference or deliver individualized instruction for the students with these alerts. But then you're also going to have to turn it on once you do that individualized instruction. All this, I'm going to provide it. It's a PDF. And you know what? Let me just share that link with you. I'll put it here. So on the chat, I am pasting this first link is for that 4-pager, which is a 2-pager of the student, the 1-pager for the class, and the 1-pager for what to do to be able to do the individualized instruction when we get those shut off or the yield sign. Additionally, I'm putting right now a how-to that they shared with us from Eureka. Let me put it in here. Debbie was very nice to remind me and share it with me. And this is a how-to. Let me share my screen again. I'm just going to open it up. Is it? Here we go. I'm glad that you like it, Ms. Contreras. We're here to support you. Again, if you have any questions after this training, feel free to contact myself or Debbie. But this is a how-to that I already shared with us. And it's just very specific. Like Debbie was mentioning to me earlier today. It goes into finding how to manage your rosters, manage the settings, create a report, assess and teach, also assign the diagnostic, before the diagnostic, immediately after each diagnostic, online instruction, teacher-led instruction. All this information is in here. I believe is 29 pages, and it's the second link that we put in here. They're available for you, so you can go ahead and download them and use them as you want and as you need. Well, without further ado, Debbie, can we go ahead and do the wheel of names? So I don't see any more questions.
We sure can. And I did include a copy of the PDF of the slides. So they'll have all those links in the slides as well.
Perfect.
Just give me a second. I have my wheel of names ready to go. I'll go ahead and share. All right. I believe I have everybody's names that is here. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle up.
I don't see Zenaida's name in there.
Well, we can't win. All right, here we go. Good luck. And
no whammy, stop.
For attending.
Congratulations, Ms. Lopez. See, all your amazing questions paid off. You're our prize. We'll make it to you.
I love the excitement.
Sometime this week. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to come and contact myself or Debbie. We're here to support you. We're your elementary instructional technology specialists. It is always a pleasure to support you, and feel free to visit our website, our YouTube channel. We'll be putting this recording on YouTube soon during this week. And if there's no other questions, have a great afternoon.